Imagine walking into a high-end boutique, expecting a pleasant shopping experience, only to feel the sting of condescension from the moment you step in. That's exactly what happened to Maya, a confident and stylish black woman who refuses to let anyone dim her light. As she browsed through the racks, two saleswomen, dripping with arrogance, made their presence, and their opinions, uncomfortably clear. With dismissive glances and patronizing comments, they assumed Maya didn't belong in their store. But little did they know, Maya wasn't one to stay silent. What unfolded next was a moment of strength, dignity, and self-respect that left everyone in the room speechless. This is a story about standing tall in the face of prejudice and proving that no one has the right to determine your worth. Stick around, because this showdown is one you won't want to miss. Maya had entered the boutique that afternoon with a purpose. She was shopping for a dress to wear to a special event. She loved fashion and carried herself with elegance, but as soon as she stepped inside, she felt the weight of judgment. The two saleswomen stood near the counter, whispering to each other, their eyes scanning Maya from head to toe. One of them offered a half-hearted, "Can I help you?" while the other smirked, as if expecting her to leave. Maya calmly replied, "I'm just browsing, thank you," and began looking through the racks. She could hear their faint chuckles and see their sideways glances, but she chose to focus on the task at hand. Still, their behavior became harder to ignore. They lingered nearby, making passive-aggressive remarks loud enough for her to hear. Maya felt her patience thinning, but instead of reacting, she waited, knowing the right moment would come. As Maya sifted through the dresses, one of the saleswomen sauntered over, her tone dripping with fake politeness. "Are you sure we have what you're looking for? These are designer pieces, quite exclusive." The other woman leaned against the counter, pretending to organize receipts but clearly listening in, a smug smile on her face. Maya looked up, meeting the saleswoman's gaze without flinching. "I'm sure I'll find something," she said calmly, her voice steady but firm. She turned back to the rack, determined not to let their subtle jabs distract her. But the women didn't stop. The second one chimed in from across the room, her voice louder now. "Some people don't realize how much quality costs." They both chuckled, their laughter cutting through the air like a blade. Other customers in the store glanced over, sensing the tension. Maya's heart raced, not with fear, but with resolve. She decided it was time to act. Maya took a deep breath, her hand brushing against the soft fabric of a dress she had picked out. She glanced at the tag. It was stunning and exactly what she needed. As she walked toward the fitting rooms, the first saleswoman blocked her path with a disapproving look. "Are you sure you want to try that on? It might not fit the way you think," she said with a condescending tone, her eyes scanning Maya's frame. Maya held her head high, refusing to let the woman's words sink in. "I'd like to see for myself," she replied, her voice calm but commanding. The saleswoman hesitated, then reluctantly stepped aside, muttering something under her breath as Maya walked past. From the corner of the room, the second saleswoman whispered loud enough for everyone to hear, "It's always the same. They act like they can afford anything until it's time to pay." The remark hung in the air, sharp and cutting, as the room grew quieter. Even the other customers froze, unsure how Maya would respond. Maya turned slowly, her expression unwavering. The tension in the boutique was palpable, and all eyes were on her. Something told everyone present that Maya wasn't just going to let this slide. Maya stood still for a moment, letting the saleswoman's words linger. Then, with poise, she stepped back toward the counter, the dress draped over her arm. "You know," she began, her voice calm but commanding, "it's fascinating how quick some people are to make assumptions." Her words were steady, but the intensity in her eyes left no room for doubt. Maya wasn't here to back down. As the room grew quieter, one of the other customers, an older woman who had been silently observing, spoke up. "Excuse me," she said, directing her attention to the saleswoman, "is this how you treat everyone who walks in here? Or just her?" The question cut through the tension, catching even Maya off guard. The saleswomen exchanged uneasy glances, their smug demeanor faltering. Before they could respond, the boutique door swung open, and a sharply dressed man walked in. His presence was commanding, and it was clear from the way the staff stiffened that he wasn't just another customer. Maya's eyes flickered toward him, sensing that the dynamics of the room were about to shift yet again. The sharply dressed man strode into the boutique, his eyes scanning the room before locking onto the two saleswomen. "What's going on here?" he asked, his tone firm and authoritative. The saleswomen immediately straightened, their confident smirks replaced with nervous expressions. Maya watched silently, curious about who he was. "Nothing, sir," one of them stammered. "Just assisting a customer." "Really?" he said, his gaze narrowing. "Because from what I heard outside, it sounds like you were being anything but helpful." He turned toward Maya, offering a warm, apologetic smile. "I'm David, the owner of this store. Is there something I can help you with?" Maya, maintaining her composure, explained what had happened, her words calm but pointed. The other customers nodded in agreement, adding their own observations. David's expression darkened as he listened, his disappointment clear. When she finished, David turned to the saleswoman. "This is unacceptable. You've not only disrespected a valued customer, but also tarnished the reputation of this boutique. Consider this your final warning." The saleswoman stood frozen, their arrogance shattered. As Maya prepared to leave, David stopped her. "Please allow me to gift you that dress as an apology," he said sincerely. Maya smiled graciously but declined. "I can afford it," she replied. Then, with one final glance at the stunned saleswomen, she walked to the register, paid for the dress, and left the store, her head held high. Outside, the older woman who had spoken up earlier caught up to Maya. "You handled that with such grace," she said. Maya smiled. "Sometimes, the best way to stand up for yourself is to let your actions speak louder than their words." As Maya walked down the street, the cool breeze brushing her face, she couldn't help but reflect on the experience. It wasn't just about the dress or the rude saleswoman. It was about self-respect and standing firm in the face of prejudice. Her calm demeanor and unwavering confidence had sent a clear message, not just to them, but to everyone watching. No one has the right to make you feel less than you are. The older woman who had supported her earlier gave her a small wave before heading in the opposite direction. It was a reminder that even in tense moments, kindness from strangers can be powerful. Maya smiled to herself, knowing she had stayed true to who she was. As she turned the corner, dress bag in hand, she felt lighter. This wasn't just a shopping trip. It was a moment of quiet triumph, proving that dignity and grace always win.